I'll be honest with you. I preferred Gamescom far more than that bullshit Jeff Keighley did this summer.
Yeah, there was relatively more interesting things at Gamescom, especially since we didn't have E3.
Like Gamescom
It
felt
kind
more
of
like
showed
E3
things.
than you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're covering games two. Sorry, games two, day two and day three. Well, as much of day three as we can of Gamescom. So plus some other stuff. But before we go any further, and I tell you what we're covering, Kenoshi, introduce yourself.
It's Kenoshi Abominito, and I'm glad to be here. Glad to be on another one of BS Busters cast.
Nice, nice. I'm glad to have you. This is Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor of BS Busters. Glad to be on another one of these. All right, let's get it started. So the topics we have are what we thought of Gamescom overall, games that uh, we were like, oh, that's really interesting, and when it comes out, I'm really happy about it. Um, I'm going to give my first impressions of Saints Row 22, aka the Saints Row reboot, but I'm not calling it that. In my head, I call it Saints Row 5. Our ideal GTA game with no limits, no like you know, like if you had your ultimate druthers and whatever you wanted, you could have. No hardware limitations, no software limitations, anything like that. Asshole of the week in gaming and hot takes. So let's get to it. So I guess we got to get to Gamescom. So what you can do more than one. What game or games stood out to you? Announcement for Gamescom.
The Liza P. That one looked pretty good. Atomic Heart looked like definitely looked like it was channeling Bioshock. That's for sure.
Yeah.
With the and I like the premise, like the story behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that looked pretty interesting. Let's see what else caught my attention. Dune is supposedly supposed to be like a
MMO.
MMO game.
Yep.
That could be interesting. If done right, that could be pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, for the planet being for the book just taking basically just so far taking place on a giant ball of dirt, giant ball of sand. It's actually pretty interesting. It's
Well,
interesting. There's a uh, Dune has an interesting world. So
yeah, traversing that world's going to be dangerous because if you go on the sand and you make rhythmic noises, there's a chance a fucking sandworm will eat you.
oh yeah, I just got past the part in the book where they they treaties Paul and Leto uh, and their guest. At least Paul and Leto had the first encounter with the sandworm at the spice mine
Oh yeah, yeah. They see the
mine facility.
miners mining, and the worms eat the fucking. They eat the rig, but they get the people out. It's like shit. This planet is
Yeah,
fucking ridiculous.
yeah.
Is it too late for me to withdraw this and just go home? Can I just get, look? Let the emperor have it. I'll just say fuck it. I'll just go home. Really, we can
I
avoid
mean,
this whole
yeah,
damn book. This
yeah.
whole.
My whole planet was practically a tropical paradise. I know spice is a very important ingredient, but I think we could do without it.
Yeah,
We don't need that
I don't
much.
need it that bad.
It,
Well, they kind
it's
of
a
do because spice in Dune is not only what the Spacers Guild uses in order to fold space and enable faster than light travel and trade and all that type of stuff, but the people in Dune take it. It enhances their lifespan. But here's the thing: once you start taking spice, you can't stop taking it.
oh,
Like if they try, the
it's like crack.
withdrawal is death, intense amounts of
It's
pain, and then death.
it's space crack.
Yeah, it's space crack.
Wow.
Except you can
Yeah,
kick crack, you can't kick space.
because what the Baron was talking to his Mentat, which again, I'm terrible with names, but it's basically making jabs at his mentat about how he eats too much, spice.
Yeah,
So
yeah. You have to, but everyone, the Baron, the Emperor. It's the reason why they wanted Jessica to have a daughter before she had a son was because they didn't want her daughter to be addicted to spice because like if you're a spice addict, um, like you basically become a drug addict and you like there's certain things you can't do. Like the only reason Paul was able to do the stuff he could do was because he's the Kwisatz Haderach. And even then, like he became a spice addict. They all became spice addicts. It's ridiculous.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, hey, meth. It's great. They're like Tyrone. I smoke rocks. I don't know if you know this about me, Joe Rogan, but I smoke rocks. Anyway, yeah. Doom the MMO. I'm like, it's about time someone did something with that property.
yeah,
Instead of just making kind of shitty made for TV movies that are under budget.
yeah. I mean, it's just like it's it. You know, it's like we been trapped in this whole when it comes to big space operas,
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars and and Star Trek. It'd be kind of nice to see something else come along.
Yeah, I mean, well, Dune suffers from the reverse Star Wars phenomenon, where Dune has the story, almost always never had the budget to tell the story properly. Whereas Star Wars now has the budget, but the story is shit.
Yeah, yeah,
Like it's kind of like, um, it's just one of those things where it's like, and here's the thing: the people who wrote Star Wars, if you look at Star Wars steals so much from Dune,
Oh yeah, I'm
wholesale.
reading. I'm reading. I mean, as I'm reading this book, I'm just looking at it, and it just feels like, man, it feels like so much science fiction, modern science fiction, has taken a lot from this book.
Oh yeah, there's a reason that if you go to college and you learn comparative literature, like, and you focus on science fiction, so much sci-fi steals from Dune. It's it's like, god damn, you guys are so unoriginal.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're gonna steal from something,
Steal from the best, but still, it's just like, god damn,
yeah,
you couldn't
yeah,
you couldn't
you
come up with
couldn't come up with
anything.
your own. Yeah, yeah,
It's like, damn, you couldn't come up with anything new, huh? Just kept on repeating the same shit over and over again, huh?
yeah,
Okay, I guess this is what we're doing.
yeah.
Yeah, Dune looked cool. Actually, I'm gonna tell you, Goat Simulator 3, Squirrel with a Gun. I don't know. For some reason, games about asshole animals going around doing stuff have kind of made me happier.
Yeah, I never, I never got Goat Simulator, but as I was watching the trailer, it started to click with me. It's like this is just a physics engine for people to screw around with. I get it, but yeah, it is a. I always thought it had a pretty intricate physics engine with all the ragdoll physics with all the stuff that you can do. But hey, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still there. I'm just
Oh, okay. I thought I lost you for a
no.
second.
I was listening to what you were saying and I was formulating my response. I like I said, I like for me, if you're going to make a animal running amok game, you have to be like Goat Simulator, where it's just ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
unknown goose, that game that was on the Switch and PC and stuff like that. I'm like, this is cool, but it's a little too tame because the goose is just an asshole. But geese in real life are assholes, so it's like, eh. But Goat Simulator's like this shit's ridiculous. Squirrel with a gun. You have a squirrel running around with a handgun. I mean, shit. Like, men in black dudes are chasing the squirrel down and he's shooting them. And you can like upgrade to like a machine gun. The squirrel can beat dudes up and steal their guns. I mean, shit, you know? Like, that's so ridiculous that I'm like, the game could be shit, but I might want to play that. Or that game that came out on the Switch and PC like last year with the crabs fighting people with weapons in their claws. I'm like, this shit's ridiculous. I like ridiculous gameplay concepts because it's easy to make a game that makes sense and has reality on its side. But making a game where just ridiculous shit happens and people just like, well, I guess this is what we're doing. Yeah, this is what it is. Like, I like that. I like ridiculousness in gaming. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. Let's see what else. What other Gamescom games did I see that were? They're making another Homeworld, which is cool, I guess. I never got into the space simulator of Homeworld, but some people really like it, so I don't know.
They actually showed they showed a fair amount of games. I just thought it'd just be rehashes of everything that's shown during the June events.
No, but there was some real new shit that they showed.
Yeah, they showed a lot of new stuff. They showed Dying Light 2, which actually looks interesting.
Yeah.
there was not Dying Light 2, another zombie game.
The game that's been in development hell for 9 years. It's supposed to come out next year.
Yeah, it's got a 2 at the end of it.
It was Dead Island 2.
Yeah, Dead Island 2. Yeah, Dead Island 2.
And it looks like it looks polished enough that it feels like it's an actual game and not some shit they just, unbuttoned their pants and squatted it out.
There was an interview with the developers, and they're just kind of like, look, we're not telling a deep story about, which isn't deep anymore. It's just kind of lame at this point where, the humans are the real monsters.
Yeah. I read the article where they're talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, the zombies are the bad guys, the humans are the good guys, and it's just.
And that's all you need to know. Go kill some zombies.
Filling buckets of blood of zombies.
Yeah.
And about surviving and enjoying the apocalypse.
Yeah. Don't go Walking Dead where it's like the real enemies, the real monsters are us. It's like no, fuck you, no. You don't get get to pull that card all the time, all the damn time.
Yeah, it's like when I heard that, it's like, I appreciate that. Sometimes it's good to just be simple.
Yeah. So Dead Island 2, I thought that was a surprise for me because I thought that game was dead. I thought that game was vaporware. I'm like, nah, that game's never coming out. We saw that trailer where that dude was running down the street with the headphones on and shit's going down around him and he's just ignoring the shit. I'm like, nah, that was just the trailer. But apparently, I mean, the sad thing is that no matter what trailer Dead Island 2 came up with, it was never going to be as good as that Dead Island 1 trailer where the little girl, like, you thought this was going to be some serious zombie game where a guy is, like, trying to survive on this island with zombies, and it just turned into, like, a silly little zombie, like Zombie U, but better. Yeah. That's basically what Dead Island was. It's like, oh, Zombie U is a budget shitty version of Dead Island. That's a budget shitty version of Dead Island. Yes, I said it. Yes, I said it. Zombie U is a budget shittier version of Dead Island.
Yeah, I mean,
like
Ubisoft knew.
No, go ahead.
Ubisoft knew because that's why they. Yeah, Ubisoft knew it was because that's why they ported it to the other consoles.
Yeah, the only game that they put any effort on putting on the Wii U was I want to say Rayman Legends, but then
Yeah,
they
most
delayed that
probably.
game to port it to everything else, and it still fucking bombed when it first came out. Jokes
Yeah.
on them.
Yeah, they should have focused. They should have, they should have focused on the Wii U. Again, these companies are so afraid because they put so much resources into a couple games a year that you know, like no, we gotta make $1 billion off of this game.
Yeah.
Gotta make grillions of dollars.
And they don't understand that not
Well,
everything is gonna not everything is going to be a multi-hit, a multi-factional hit. So like some games can be niche, and that's okay. It's like
yeah,
some movies are only gonna appeal to a certain crowd. That's why you keep your budget under control when you make them. All right.
yeah,
Stop trying to make everything into a multi-million, into 100, into like $1 billion franchise. Okay.
yeah,
For both games and movies, stop it.
yeah.
Stop it. Anyway, yeah. So Gamescom was kind of interesting this year. To me, it felt more like the E3 we deserved. Plus, Nintendo showed up there with their Treehouse. They showed Harvestella. Here's a little hot take for you early. I was more excited for Harvestella than I was for Splatoon 3.
Yeah, yeah, I think I'm Splatooned out. I mean, I played Splatoon 1 to death. I played Splatoon 2 to death. I'm just kind of looking at Splatoon 3. It's like, I've had my fill of Splatoon.
It's
I
not the
kind of skip
gameplay.
this one.
It's not the game itself. It's that I don't like playing Splatoon with on the Switch. Like if
Yeah,
it had the dual screen gameplay, I'm like, this would be great. But playing it on the Switch feels like I'm playing a gimped version of Splatoon,
yeah.
and I don't want to play a gimped version of Splatoon.
I probably won't. Myself, I probably will end up picking it up eventually, but not
Not
day one.
immediately. It'll be
Yeah,
like a
not immediately.
later on type thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that's my thing. Where I'm just like, I don't really, I don't really give a shit. So overall, what would you give Gamescom? Yay, nay, good, bad, better, worse.
I thought, because there was no E3 this year,
Mm,
and that game show, Jeff Keighley's game shows,
was bullshit.
yeah, it was just trash. I'll give it. It was good.
Yeah.
I'll give it a thumbs up. I mean, compared compared to what we got earlier this summer, it was a step up.
Yeah, it felt like a real video games conference instead of
Yeah,
just some bullshit, some commercialized bullshit. I'm glad now. To be fair, I didn't watch it live. I just read the announcements and looked at the trailers. But it feels like it was far less commercial than Jeff Keighley's Summer Jam, whatever his bullshit was.
yeah,
It felt more like the PC gaming show or Devolver Digital's thing than whatever that bullshit was over there at Jeff Keighley's Summer Jam, whatever the fuck it was called. I don't remember. Anyway, let's keep it moving. Next, we talked about Gamescom. Our next topic is oh yes, my first impressions of Saints Row 22. So this is the Saints Row reboot that came out this year. It was supposed to come out in February. It was pushed back 6 months. Really, they should have pushed it back to next year. I'm just
yeah.
gonna I'm
I'll
gonna
be
get
right back.
okay. Go ahead. I'm gonna get the negatives out first. Saints Row 22. It's a decent game. The people who are saying, "Oh my God, this game is absolutely terrible," it's not terrible. It just feels like it could have done with another 3 months in the oven. But if they pushed it another 3 months, it would have come out in November or December. It would have come out in November, and I don't think people would have wanted to play it in November. Um, so they pushed it out now. Is it terrible? No, it is not. The people are saying, "You've betrayed our trust, you lied, this is absolute trash." Game's not that bad. It really isn't. It really isn't that bad. It's if I had any critiques for Saints Row 2022, I would say that some things they don't go far enough in doing. like some concepts they don't go far enough in doing. Some characters, there isn't a lot of character development um, for your crew in the game. Um, I would say in Saints Row 2, 3, and 4, there was better character development for your side characters. For new side characters and old side characters, there was better character development. Um, and for them to be starting from scratch and them not to understand that you have to develop your characters properly feels kind of weird.
That's the same people that made the other games, or is it?
No, the thing is, a lot of fucking people. What happened is a lot of people left. You have very few of the original Volition people, because what happened was that they made Agents of Mayhem, and that game bombed. So a lot of people just said "fuck it" and left Volition.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what happened. So the people you had left were like, well, we need to update this for a modern generation. Now, and I understand that they want to modernize it for a modern generation. I totally understand that. I'm not like, oh my God, how dare they want to, because games have changed. Games have changed from this gen to last gen, and that gen to the previous gen. Like a lot of gaming conventions. But the thing is like, when you're it's kind of like the Zelda Breath of the Wild problem, where the people that I've seen who just absolutely love that game are people who never gave a fuck about the original Legend of Zelda 3D Legend of Zeldas anyway.
Yeah.
They're like, this is the best one ever. Well, how many of the other ones I didn't? Then you have no basis by which to make that statement. Now, if you're someone who played the original 3D Legend of Zelda, you're like, I'm tired of the formula. But that's a very small percentage compared to the people who are saying, oh, this is a great game, but how many other ones did you play? None of them. Then shut the fuck up. Your opinion is invalid. I mean, you can have it, but your opinion as far as being rooted in reality is invalid because you don't have enough of a breadth and depth of experience in order to make that statement. It's like someone who hasn't had sex trying to tell someone about how great sex is. It's like, yeah, shut the fuck up. You don't, seriously, shut the fuck up. So basically, Saints Row 22 is decent. It's decent. I hope that, I mean, this is one of the great things about modern gaming is that, as a game is released, developers can patch them and add new features and fix shit as time goes on. Like, one of my favorite games from last year was The Ascent. The Ascent, when it first came out, was, I mean, the premise was good, but the game ran like shit.
Yeah.
And I know some people will say, oh, your rig is weak. Actually, percentage-wise, I have a rig that in some cases outstrips some of the new shit that's been coming out over the last year and a half. Okay? It's not my rig. The game wasn't optimized. But the developers fixed that over time. And now the game runs very well on my PC. So my point is that, over time, Saints Row, which is a decent game, might become a great game if the developers patch in things that should exist. Now, the developer, one of the developers on Saints Row 2020, Saints Row 5 or Saints Row the reboot, basically made a statement that kind of lets me know that development was not good on this game. Basically, they had a build of this game, and then they switched to a new engine and threw all that work out. So they were developing developer tools at the same time as making this game, which is a no-no of game development.
Yeah.
A major no-no. So the fact that this game came out and it is as polished as it is right now just tells me how much they buckled down and got this game going.
So that's why it took 300 years for Breath of the Wild to come out, because they were working on that physics engine.
Well, I mean, I don't think it took 300 years for Breath of the Wild to come out. Like, I don't think Breath of the Wild had an extensive development time. That's why Breath of the Wild is missing core shit that should be in a Legend of Zelda game. Hey, why are there no real dungeons in this game? Because they didn't have time to put real dungeons in that game. They barely had enough fucking time to get the game ported to 2 systems.
Yeah.
hey, why are there only like 8 different enemy types in this game? You better be glad you got 8. Shit.
We were gonna have 6, but then the
Yeah,
boss was like, "We needed more than
someone
that."
brought their sleeping bag to the office. Some developers brought their sleeping bags to the office and slept under their desk. Shit, you better be happy you got that. Hey, why is there no swimming in this game? Shut the fuck up. Be glad you got what you got.
They brought some sleeping bags. They brought some other bags, so they didn't have to get up from their computer chair.
I have a question. I have a question. Why why here's my last question. Why why are the boss fights in this game so fucking stupid and samey? Hey, you could either have a great physics engine or you could have good boss fights. I would rather have a shitty physics engine and have good boss fights. But that's just me. I don't really give a fuck. Like, never was I playing. Well, the combat is really dynamic. Never have I played a 3D Legend of Zelda game and said, you know what, this game needs better combat. I was like, I don't play Legend of Zelda for the combat. For me, it's the dungeon design, it's the puzzles in the dungeons, and the intricate boss fights. That's Legend of Zelda to me. Everything else, it's like, oh, this world's nice. The world is interesting. The setting is interesting. Um, for me, I judge Legend of Zelda games by their final boss fight. If the final boss is awesome, then I can forgive a lot of shit. If the final boss is some bullshit, then the Legend of Zelda game is some bullshit. And by that metric, Breath of the Wild is not high on the. It's not high on that chart, because that final boss fight against Ganon in Breath of the Wild is a fucking joke. Like, literally, you've got, like, remember the ending from Twilight Princess?
Yeah.
Not the very end where you have the sword fight against Ganon. Like, where you're on horseback and Princess Zelda's is on the back shooting arrows. It's the same fucking shit. I'm like, y'all couldn't come up with anything new. You just recycling your old shit in a worse game? Don't get me started on Breath of the Wild. Anyway, Saints Row 2022. I've put about an hour and a half into it. I'm like halfway through the opening of the game where where the map starts to open up a little bit. I haven't gotten to the point where the game really starts to open up and everything, like all the little stores and garages and everything opens up yet. But from what I've played thus far, I've enjoyed it. You know, and I'm one of those people. I can see both sides of the argument. I can totally agree with the people who were pissed that they got rid of all the original characters. I could totally understand that, because these new characters have fucking almost zero personality. They're vapid as fuck. There's like one character who kind of has a personality, but it like I haven't dug deep enough to see if my first impression is true. And I don't like how they changed some of the more risque jokes, because like freckle bitches is now FBs. Like one of the opening of the game has your character get pissed because they're working for a semi-private privatized security firm called Marshalls, and they disobey orders, so they get no bonus for the day, and they're reamed out by their immediate superior, by their supervisor, when they drive home. And you can tell where the writers wanted to say something dirty like cum sucking, and instead they changed it to scum sucking. It's like, why are you taking the teeth out of this game?
Yeah. I think they're just.
Or rim jobs is now gym rubs. I mean, shit. You know,
That's really weird.
I mean, like, here's the thing. Most kids aren't going to be playing Saints Row. Kids want to play shit like Call of Duty and GTA 5.
It's still a rated M game too, so I don't.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't fucking get it. But whatever. Anyway, the game is decent. Is it as like I would say mechanically it's better than Saints Row 4 and 3 in terms of the gameplay mechanics. It's very smooth. I would say in terms of the writing, it's weaker thus far. But like I said, I got the premium version that was like $90 off of Epic, so they might add expansions to this game that blow like it's like, man, this is fucking amazing. I don't know. I hope they do. Because I got the premium version that you get all the DLC and shit as it's released. Because I like the Saints Row series. I like Saints Row 1, what I played of it. I love Saints Row 2, 3, 4, Gat Out of Hell. I like the series. So I supported it. So I hope it's still good. Anyway, speaking of idealized sandbox style games, next topic. Oh, do you have any questions you want to ask about the game, Kanoshi?
Does the gameplay feel repetitive? Because I know that was a complaint that people had. Like too repetitive, like the gunplay and stuff like that.
No. They took the gunplay that they had in they took the gunplay that they had in Agents of Mayhem, which even though Agents of Mayhem wasn't a great game, the gunplay was actually really good. So the gunplay is in that vein where it's really fun to go around getting into gunfights. The only downside, like the problem with the game, like one of the issues with the game is that in order for you to, in previous Saints Row games, you could just if you had the money, you could upgrade your weapons. In this game, you have to grind to upgrade your weapons. Like it's like you got to get 10 headshots off of while riding in a car in order to upgrade and order to unlock the level 2 of this weapon. And I'm like, this is stupid. Like, if I have money, I should be able to upgrade this weapon. Why the fuck do I have to do all this other shit? It's basically it's designed to pad out the gameplay. But if you enjoy playing the game, then you're gonna have fun. Like driving has never been more fun. And to be fair, Saints Row, in my opinion, always had a more fun driving experience than GTA. Like GTA's driving feels like they want to straddle the line between a sim and actual driving, especially with 5 and 4. But Saints Row, the cars always felt fun. Like you get into a sports car and drive around the city, it felt fun. I cannot say the same thing with those other games, but that's just me. So, any other questions before I move on to the next topic?
No, I'm good.
All right. So next topic is the idealized GTA game. No limits, no hardware limitations, no software limitations. No, we can't do that because of this bullshit reason right here.
So, let me go for Galactic GTA, where it's done a galaxy where you work as a crime agency. Um, you know, robbing people and maybe you're in your other you're in a war with another galactic gang, and you can rob ships, um, traverse to other planets, start some stuff there. Um, yeah, that would be the basic premise of a GTA with no limits.
That'd be cool. So like basically you'd be traveling to planet to planet to planet to planet.
Yeah, yeah,
All right. So like No Man's Sky but GTA.
yeah, yeah. Essentially,
That would be a daunting. I would hate to be the person to program that, but it'd be cool if they could pull it off though.
yeah.
Keyword if they could pull it off. If they could, it'd be amazing. Um, well, I guess I'm gonna take a step back and go a little bit in a different direction. I would like it to see a GTA style game set in a fantastical universe. So like your grenades would be like alchemical potions and shit, and like your crew would be like you could have humans in your crew, but you could also have like dwarves and elves and shit. That'd be interesting to me. But you could have that GTA sense of humor. So like it's a fairy it's a pixie dust. You start the game as a pixie dust courier, and then you get promoted to pixie dust dealer, where people are snorting pixie dust, and that's the drug in the city where you start the game. And then, of course, it's GTA, so eventually it would spiral into more ridiculous shit on top of that. That would be cool to me. I would really enjoy that.
Yeah.
Because frankly speaking, I'm tired of serious GTA, serious Rockstar. We have to tell a seriously deep story. I'm like,
I've never
do,
seen
do we?
have orgasm, so I didn't know really what to expect.
Do we have to? Because I don't want to. I don't want to see it. You know, I'm tired of seeing ultra serious Rockstar. We're trying to tell a deep, engaging story. Why though? I mean, this is a game about criminals going around doing shit. Like, why are we trying to tell deep, involved stories? It's a video game, y'all. It's not a movie. Even though y'all desperately want to turn the shit into a movie. I don't know why. Anyway,
Yeah, I don't know. Well, there's just a bunch of people that are embarrassed to be game developers, so they want to be looked at as in other entertainment industries as yeah we're the we can be taken seriously too.
I mean,
Whatever, guys.
I think that's a
Whatever.
part of it. But I also think I think some gamers just want to be taken seriously. Like, they still think that there's a stigma about playing video games, but there isn't, though. You know what I mean? Like, if it was 30 years ago where you had an entire generation before us who, not an entire, but like a good part of that generation 30 years ahead of us who did not play video games or played it sporadically or, rarely, if at all, then that made sense. But now we're getting into a generation where like the people ahead of us, the people who are making games now, a lot of the people who are playing games, everyone's been gaming in some way, shape, or form. If you're 50 years old and younger, you have been playing video games. So there's no excuse for, oh, I don't do that. Come on, man. Who you bullshitting? And that's where I am right now. I'm just like, I can't deal with this bullshit. These people whining and complaining about how they don't, you know. Oh, it's got to be serious. That's why Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2 failed because they were trying too hard to tell these dark, serious, involved stories. And I'm like, I just want to ride around in the wild, wild west shooting people. Why do you want to tell this deep, involved fucking story, dude? This shit ain't Unforgiven.
Yeah.
You need to be more like the good, the bad, and the ugly, and less Unforgiven or the outlawed Josie Wales. Okay? you need more fistful of dollars, or for a few dollars more, Sabata, less Unforgiven. Because Unforgiven is a good movie. It's not a fun movie to watch. All right. Matter of fact, parts of it are fucking brutal.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Outlaw Josie Wales. Anyway, back to the topic. Yeah, my ideal GTA game would either be fantastical or like to me, and this is just my own personal observation. I think the best GTA games are ones that embraced how should I put this? Embraced the fact that GTA is essentially um it's a, like the best ones were parodies, right? Like Vice City is a
Yeah.
parody of Miami Vice and Scarface. San Andreas is a parody of the hood gangster movies of the late 80s, early 90s. So Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, shit like that. Juice. Um so why the hell do they keep on trying to tell these serious, GTA 3 was a parody of the mafia movies of the 90s. Like stop trying to be serious. Stop! Oh, we're telling a serious story about the decline of the American dream. Fuck that, man. Do a GTA game that's set in the 70s. Make it like a blaxploitation film. I mean, a blaxploitation movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that shit. That'd be hilarious. I'd watch that in a moment. That'd be great. But that's my own personal opinion. I could be wrong. Anyway, anything else you want to add before we move on to the final two topics?
Um. No, I'm good.
All right, final two topics. Keeping it moving, keeping it moving. Shit, gotta find the thing. Asshole of the week in gaming, and then our hot takes about gaming itself. Do you have an asshole of the week in gaming? I have one, but you're gonna be surprised.
Mine probably is Sony for raising the price of the PS5.
Yeah, everywhere but here though.
But here, inflation has given companies an excuse to. Because notice how Nintendo and Microsoft isn't. Are they haven't announced price hikes?
No, they aren't going to either.
And both of them, like Microsoft, can eat the cost because they're Microsoft. They got more money than God. And then
And Nintendo can eat the cost because they know they're gonna make their money on the software.
exactly their first parties sell like crazy. So they'll be
But
fine.
Sony, Sony's like, God damn, we gotta do something. But you know what? This is payback for what they did to Microsoft during the Xbox One, where both Microsoft and Sony agreed to have online DRM, and Sony was like, "Oh shit, we gotta back out of this and make it look like we're the good guys, even though we're gonna do the exact same goddamn thing." Payback is a bitch. That's all I gotta say on Sony.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. Payback is a bitch. Let's see what else. For me, my asshole of the week, I got two. My first asshole of the week is damn. Well, I'll do the second one first because I forgot the first one. My second asshole of the week is Kurt Schilling. He's the guy who was the one of the founders at 38 Studios. Kurt Schilling also used to be a baseball player for the Red Sox, I believe, the Boston Red Sox. Kurt Schilling is a guy who took out a $75 million loan with the state of Rhode Island. in order to open up 38 studios, and then he defaulted on that loan and only paid like a fraction of it back to the state of Rhode Island. And yet he had the nerve to get mad when the government forgave students their student loans. He's like, people in debt should pay their debts, like you didn't do.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, you know, that's the pot calling the kettle black. Methinks. My second asshole of the week is or my first actually. My first asshole of the week is Hideo Kojima, who came on Gamescom just to let people know he's starting a podcast.
Yeah.
I was like, so let me get this straight. You went to a game developers conference, not to make connections, not to announce your next game, but to fucking tell people that you're starting a podcast.
Yeah.
Fuck you. And people wonder why I don't like Hideo Kojima.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you like Hideo Kojima? Because he's a piece of shit. People always like, oh, don't say that. Come on, man. Can we all agree that he's an incredibly, he's a hack? Can we finally agree that he's a hack? Do we have to pretend that he's really like this genius developer? Because he isn't.
Yeah.
Anyway. But that's my opinion. And I could be wrong. Anything you want to say? Anything you want to add? Did you think of a new asshole of the week?
Let's see who else. Who else could get it? No, not exactly.
All right.
Yeah,
Now
but going back to the Harley Shilling thing about paying off your debts, it's like,
yeah.
that was, you know, it's like, yeah, that is pretty ballsy to say, even though that you didn't. I don't think they paid off their debt to Rhode Island.
No, they wrote it down.
Yeah.
They were bailed out by Rhode Island itself.
Yeah.
But here's the difference. Yeah. They made one game that did okay, and then they were like, we're going to take this money and create an MMO. First of all, if you're a new studio, you never create an MMO, because MMOs always cost more than you think they're going to cost. Okay? If in order for you to get your MMO to launch is going to cost you $150 million, project double that in actual cost. Because launching your MMO isn't enough. You have to support it for like 3, 4, 5 years. With content and all that type of shit. Plus, you need people who are bug testing it to make sure, you got to pay for servers. It's always going to be more expensive than you're going to think. Also, I mean, like most of the students who have student debt, like if they graduated, they became contributing members to society. Whereas Kurt Schilling was a fucking millionaire. I think he may still be a millionaire. But I'm not going to get into it. But the dude's an asshole. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yes. Hot take. I said it earlier. I will repeat it. I think Splatoon 3 is not going to be I think it's going to be a perfectly functional game. I wish Nintendo had just had one Splatoon per console generation. Like, you get one and that's it. They support it until the console is over with and they move on to the next one. I don't think...
We know what Splatoon 2 was. It was just support of the first game.
Yeah, with shittier controls. That's all it really was. And they added a better single player, like a longer single player and a single player expansion. Like I said, I personally think Splatoon 2 should have been just on the Switch, and I think Splatoon 3 should be on their next hardware. Like, I don't think Splatoon should be I don't think it should be a multi-generational game. Like, you get one Mario Kart per gen. one Smash Brothers per gen, you should only get one Splatoon per gen. But
Yeah.
that's my own personal opinion. That's my hot take. You have a hot take about gaming you want to give?
Let's see. Hmm.
Nothing.
No, nothing this week. I had one early. I had one earlier, but
It slipped your
oh
mind.
yeah, the the handheld console market's starting to get flooded. Like a lot of these handheld PCs, I think some of these companies need to slow down. They need to
Yeah,
slow down releasing these handheld PCs and just focus on
one thing and just do it.
one thing.
Yeah.
Because I think what Valve is doing right now, they're doing it right. They're not obviously flooding the market with different Steam decks and
No.
like every 3 6 months. Like, it's take it easy, take it easy.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's room for maybe two. Okay, I think the Switch and the Steam Deck, that's all you really need. Everything else is just like, and the only reason I say there's room for the Steam Deck isn't because the Steam Deck is a powerhouse, because it kind of isn't, but because the Steam Deck, you have that massive ecosystem and infrastructure built by Valve. That's the only reason. Like, if they didn't have the infrastructure, it'd be shit too.
Yeah, I mean the 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 Steam Deck, uh, yeah, isn't necessarily anything to write home about power wise, but it has a lot of those options. It also has a lot of the valve behind it, so games are going to get optimized for it versus a lot of these other handhelds which they're relying on Windows, which
Yeah.
honestly I think they should either some of these companies like Ion specifically should maybe work with Valve to implement SteamOS on their console, so it's more uh, so I don't know. It has it's not overly relying on Windows because
Windows kind of sucks for gaming. Even though
yeah,
Sony, I mean, Windows is all like, no, it's great. It's like, no, it's not. No, no. Your platform sucks for gaming. Okay, here's some news for you guys. Thanks to a code leak, Link to the Past has been ported completely to PC.
Link to the Past.
Link to the Past, arguably the best Legend of Zelda game ever made.
I
Uh,
wonder what the mods look like for that game.
I don't know. I don't think there are mods for it yet, but the base game can be played on PC now. Now, of course, you have to have a original ROM in order to play it. But once you do that, it converts that into PC, and you can play it on PC, and that
Yeah,
is
that's
amazing.
that's that's pretty cool. This is becoming a trend. It's as far as I know, it started with the Super Mario 64, and I really like this trend. I think um,
Yeah,
it's really it's really cool. Ocarina of Time is a pretty cool PC port to it, which has a bunch of different options
yeah,
and how you can optimize the game for yourself.
yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty. Jack and Daxter also got a PC port.
That's
They
true.
reversed they the story behind that is pretty wild. Jack and Daxter, when it was being developed by Naughty Dog, they they wrote their own code. So this is back in the day when Naughty Dog used to be creative. So they they created their own specialized code to make that game called Gull. So it's not something that can be easily translated into more common programming languages. So they essentially had to create something out of nothing. So they had to reverse engineer the Go language into something that would work on PC. And Yeah, it's an accomplishment, that's for sure.
I agree. I agree. I think that for Jack and Dexter 1 and Ocarina of Time, because I hate to break this to people, people are going to get mad when they hear this. Ocarina of Time was never optimized for the N64. Okay? That's why you had all those frame rate dips when you would go into the water temple and
Yeah, that game runs like shit.
if there was a lot of shit going on. And this is on the original hardware. This isn't you emulating. On the original hardware, you go to Hyrule Field, if there's a lot of shit going on, it starts slowing down. The only
What's the
time
thing?
Ocarina of Time really ran well is if you had the expansion pack. Those extra 4 megabytes of memory kind of really did help. Um,
What game did what frame rate did that game run on? Like 26 frames
it was
per second?
supposed to be it was supposed to be 30, but most of the time it was like hovering. If you were in an area where it wasn't a lot of shit going on, you get like 25, 24, 26. But if you were in an area where there's a lot of shit going on, like that Ganon battle, there's parts of that Ganon battle where it's going down in the teens, man. The teens.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Now, look. I say this as someone who played Ocarina of Time. I have played Ocarina of Time so much that I have memorized because I didn't have the Rumble. I didn't get the Rumble pack until the N64 was on its way out and the GameCube was out. And I went and got a game that came with the Rumble pack when Toys R Us was liquidating their N64 games. Like they had like buy two get one free or buy one get two, something like that. Let me tell you something. Ocarina of Time ran like shit on the N64. Okay? Like Mario 64 had some frame rate dips, but that was like one of the first games. Ocarina of Time, there was no excuse for that game to run as poorly as it did. Especially when you had Majora's Mask, which runs much better. Even without the expansion pack, it runs much better. So I don't know what the fuck was going on with that game. Anyway, yeah, yeah. Yeah, but anyway, back to Link to the Past. It's now on. You can now play it on the PC. Arguably, and I say this right now, I think Link to the Past may be the best Legend of Zelda game ever made, hands down.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean not just 2D or 3D. I mean, if you stack it against every other Legend of Zelda game, I think it's the best. Um, I think it's better than the original game. I think it's better than 2. I think it's better than Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. It's better than Twilight Princess. I love Twilight Princess, but it's better than that. It's better than Wind Waker. It's better than Breath of the Wild. It's better than Skyward Sword. I would say the only game that might be close to it is maybe Link's Awakening, but you know, Link's Awakening is like a close second.
Yeah.
But those two Legend of Zelda games may be the best of all time. Um, 3D, I'm going to say Twilight Princess. I think Twilight Princess may be my favorite 3D Legend of Zelda game. I like it better than Wind Waker because Wind Waker is a whole lot of just bullshit. Like when you actually get to dungeons and islands, it's interesting. But that traveling on the water is boring as fuck or tedious. Those are your choices: boring or tedious, and I would rather have neither. Skyward Sword. Skyward Sword had so much promise that none of it was fulfilled. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
we're gonna have a game where you're gonna spend a good 50% of the game flying around on a giant flying bird in the sky. Oh, so there's gonna be sky islands and dungeons in the sky to go through, right? Nope. Let me get this straight. You have a huge world. Like Skyward Sword should have had like massive flying cities like the Aku had, flying cities and dungeons like the Aku had in Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
But they didn't. It was just a whole bunch of bullshit. Whatever. Anyway, that's a little bit of news. Anything you want to pimp out before we wrap things up? Since we got through, we didn't have a lot to cover. Not a lot came out except for Gamescom. We covered a lot of it on your cast Tuesday.
Project Console. Um. Yeah, Project Console. Tuesday, 7:30. Eastern Standard Time. I'll probably start recording the cast. I was thinking Wednesday afternoon, but I forgot you. There's somebody I usually talk to Wednesday afternoon, so I'm thinking Thursday afternoons. So that's probably when I'll do it. So I'll do is I'll record it Thursday, or this Thursday. If you can make it, Mr. Red Fox, and then upload it Tuesday.
No,
So,
if you record it Wednesday, I can make it.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
This was. No, go ahead, Kenoshi.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna do it. Are you able to do Thursdays, or is that when you
I
work?
can do look, I am off of that particular. I don't do that thing. I work Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So
Okay.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I am available. So if you can do it
All
Thursday,
right.
I'll do it Thursday. It's no biggie.
All right. Thursday afternoon.
No
Okay.
problem.
Sounds good.
All right. This is Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor of BS Busters. We're back to our usual schedule for BS Busters. This is the last Saturday for a while. While I'll be able to do this on a Saturday, I'll have to do it on a Wednesday, but that's okay. Glad I could be on another cast. I'm glad you could join me, Kenoshi. If there are any female viewers, or you know any female YouTubers that would like to be on this channel, who want to give their take on gaming, that type of stuff, they're more than welcome to join. Thank you. That's the end of the cast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe, and